Hello and welcome to Workshop 4, the last session in our Alzheimer's Caregiver Workshop series. In this workshop, we will talk about planning ahead for future care as Alzheimer's disease progresses. These topics can feel emotional, and that is completely understandable. If at any point during this video you feel the need to pause or take a break, please do. We want this to be a supportive experience. Funder acknowledgement. A little bit about CASL. Here are some of the services offered at CASL. Before we get into the content, let's briefly review what we covered across the series. In Workshop 1, we introduced Alzheimer's disease and explained why adults with Down syndrome have a higher risk. We discussed how early signs may look different from what people expect, often appearing as changes in daily routines, behavior, or personality rather than memory loss. We also introduced the NTG EDSC screening tool. In Workshop 2, we explored how Alzheimer's progresses through 3 stages: early, middle, and late, and how caregivers can use the EDSC to monitor changes and share observations with the healthcare providers. In Workshop 3, we focus on common complications such as changes in eating, mobility, incontinence, and safety, and we practice applying caregiver strategies through case scenarios. Throughout all of our workshops, we emphasize something very important. Caregiving can be stressful, and it is just as important for you to care for yourself as it is to care for your loved one. This workshop will build on everything we've learned so far. Now that we understand how Alzheimer's disease progresses and how to support daily challenges, we will focus on planning ahead. Before we move into advanced care planning, we also want to take a moment to acknowledge you as a caregiver. Parents and family members often care for a person with Alzheimer's for many years. When we focus so much on caring for others, it is easy to forget our own needs. Caregiver burnout is real, and it affects not just you, but the quality of care you are able to provide. If stress is building up, or if caregiving feels so heavy that it is affecting your daily life, please reach out for support. Talk with your healthcare provider, connect with a support group, or reach out to our team at CASL. A list of caregiver support groups and local resources is available in your asynchronous materials. You do not have to do this alone. Taking time for yourself is not selfish. It is essential. In earlier workshops, we talk about how Alzheimer's disease can appear much earlier in people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, including those with Down syndrome. Because it starts earlier, the end of life can also come at a younger stage. Alzheimer's disease is terminal, but it is usually not the direct cause of health. Many people pass away from medical complications to advanced dementia, such as repeated infections, pneumonia from swallowing difficulties, UTIs, inadequate nutrition, or a steady decline in overall health. Talking about end-of-life wishes can be hard for families, but having these conversations early, such as before a crisis happens, gives everyone time to ask questions, explore options, and make thoughtful decisions. Planning ahead helps reduce stress and prepares families for important choices as dementia becomes more advanced. When a person is in the late stages of dementia, families may be asked to make decisions about several types of medical care, such as resuscitation, artificial feeding, palliative care, or hospice care. We'll review each of these. Resuscitation. If a person stops breathing or their heart stops, emergency teams may perform CPR or use other interventions like electric shocks or a breathing machine called a ventilator. As dementia advances, families may be asked whether they want these measures taken. Artificial feeding. In late stages, people may have severe difficulty swallowing, leading to weight loss and poor nutrition. A feeding tube may deliver nutrition through the nose or directly into the stomach. Families may be asked whether they would want this option. Palliative care. Palliative care is a medical care focused on managing symptoms, pain, and stress at any stage of illness. It can be provided at home, in clinics, long-term care facilities, or hospitals. Importantly, palliative care can be provided alongside other ongoing medical treatments. The goal is comfort and quality of life, not cure. Lastly, hospice care. Hospice care focuses on keeping the person comfortable at the end of life. Unlike palliative care, hospice care does not include treatments meant to prolong life. It can be offered at home, in nursing homes, hospitals, or dedicated hospice centers. The main difference: palliative care can accompany active treatments, while hospice care is used when the focus shifts fully to comfort rather than extending life. For families caring for someone with dementia, both types of care can offer important support depending on the stage and the person's needs. When Alzheimer's disease reaches its most advanced stage, there are 4 major signs that often lead families and medical providers to consider palliative or hospice care: requiring full help with all daily tasks, inability to move independently, and inability to feed themselves. Very severe memory loss, such as the person may not recognize familiar people. Producing very little speech, often saying only a few words or making sounds. Lastly, total loss of bowel and bladder function. Other signs that may be present include significant weight loss or very little appetite, frequent infections such as pneumonia or UTIs, pressure sores that do not heal, and repeated hospitalization in a short period. When these signs appear, families may choose to focus on comfort and dignity. You may also hear a healthcare provider mention a 6-month prognosis. This refers to a clinical judgment that a person is likely to continue declining in the next 6 months. It does not mean the doctor knows exactly how long the person will live. Rather, it is a tool to help families and medical teams align on next steps and focus on what matters most. End of life, also known as hospice care, focuses on comfort, dignity, and support for both the person and their family. It can help manage pain, breathing difficulties, infections, and caregiver stress. The 5 Wishes Guide. One valuable tool for advanced care planning is the 5 Wishes Guide. This is a type of living will, a document that helps people share their emotional, personal, spiritual, and medical wishes. It also lets a person choose who will make healthcare decisions for them if they no longer do so. As a parent or primary caregiver, you're often the decision maker. Even so, the 5 wishes can help guide important conversations with family members or with the person you support, if they're able to participate. A copy of the full guide is available with the asynchronous materials for this session. Because of time, we will cover the main ideas here as a planning framework. The 5 wishes include who I want to make healthcare decisions for me if I cannot, what medical treatments I want or do not want, how comfortable I want to be, how I want people to treat me, and what I want my family and friends to know. This guide is designed to be accessible and is acceptable for use with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Wish 1. This wish names the person who will make medical decisions if the person can no longer do so. For parents, this role often falls on you. This includes decisions about medications, surgeries, and treatments such as resuscitation, artificial feeding, palliative care, or hospice. You can designate 1 or 2 people and identify a backup if the first person is unable to serve. Wish 2. This addresses what medical treatments are wanted or not wanted in specific situations. These situations might include being close to death, being in a coma without expected recovery, or having severe and permanent brain damage with no expected improvement. For each situation, families consider 3 options. I want life support, I do not want life support, or I want it stopped if it has already started. I want life support only if my doctor believes it will help, and stopped if it is no longer helping. Wish 3 focuses on keeping the person comfortable. These choices can be deeply personal. For example, a person may want their favorite music played, pain medication even if it causes sleepiness, gentle touch or massage, or familiar religious and spiritual readings. Comfort and dignity often come from small familiar things, such as a warm blanket, a favorite smell, a hand gently held, or familiar routine. These experiences can help the person feel safe, respected, and cared for even when communication becomes difficult. Wish 4 reflects on how the person wants to be treated emotionally and socially. This often reflects cultural or family values. Some people want quiet, others want many family members nearby. Some want prayer or spiritual practices, others value familiar touch, conversation, or being at home. Wish 5 helps share what matters most to that person. It may include messages of love, how they want to be remembered, and preferences for burial or cremation. It also allows families to include cultural traditions, spiritual practices, and personal values that bring meaning and comfort at the end of life. The 5 Wishes Guide is flexible and personal. You do not need to use every example or complete it all at once. The goal is to help you think about a person's wishes and feel more prepared to honor them as their Alzheimer's progresses. We also want to acknowledge that beliefs about end-of-life care can vary widely across cultures, religions, and family traditions. All perspectives are valid. Our goal is not to tell you what to choose, but to give you tools to have meaningful conversations that honor your family's values. To close, here are some key takeaways from this workshop. Planning ahead for future care helps reduce stress and uncertainty for both caregivers and their loved ones. Understanding end-of-life topics like resuscitation, palliative care, and hospice helps families make informed and thoughtful decisions. The 5 Wishes Guide is a helpful and flexible tool for guiding conversations about future care preferences. Also, your cultural values, family dynamics, and personal beliefs all matter in this process. Moving forward as a caregiver. As you move forward after this workshop series, remember that caregiving is a journey, and it often changes over time. You do not need to know the answer right away. Planning, asking questions, and reaching out for support are all important steps. And the care and compassion you bring to your loved one's life makes a meaningful difference every single day. Over the past 4 workshops, we talked about understanding Alzheimer's disease, recognizing changes over time, responding to common challenges, and planning ahead. Our hope is that you feel more informed, more prepared, and more supported in your caregiving role. If you would like additional information or support, please don't hesitate to reach out to CASL's Brain Health Program. We are here for you. Thank you so much for joining us for this workshop series. We appreciate the time and care you dedicate to supporting your loved ones. Thank you and take care.